The Kansas City Chiefs may have just made a massive move, one that some fans are going to love and others, well, not so much. I'm talking about the long-debated future of right guard Trey Smith. It looks like a decision has finally been made, or at least agreed to in principle. According to multiple sources, the Chiefs and Trey Smith have reached a 4-year agreement worth around $22 million per year. Now, it's not signed yet, and we've still got to get through that final contract deadline, but this is a huge development with major implications. Before we dive any deeper, let me ask you, do you want Trey Smith in Kansas City long-term? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. I want to see where Chiefs Kingdom stands on this. Now, here's what makes this whole situation a bit messy. Trey Smith is currently the only player in the entire NFL still sitting on the franchise tag. That's $23.4 million guaranteed if he plays on the tag this season. But if this long-term deal actually gets signed, it would lock him in for 4 more years, and at a massive price. Some fans are thrilled at the thought of locking down one of the league's toughest, most durable guards. Others, not so much. They're worried about overpaying a guy who's better at run blocking than pass protection in an offense that doesn't run the ball that much. And that's a valid concern. Trey isn't ranked in the top 10 or even top 15 interior pass blockers according to PFF. But let's not ignore the fact that he's improved every year, started in 80 games, including the playoffs, and he's only 26. You're not exactly going to find that kind of experience and consistency growing on trees. And when he was asked about the situation, Trey played it cool. He told Kay Adams that he leaves everything in the hands of his agents and that the Chiefs' front office is elite. For now, he's just grinding and preparing for training camp like it's going to be hell on earth, because it usually is. What stands out most here is how committed Trey is to protecting Patrick Mahomes. He literally said he loses sleep thinking about how to be better at it. That's the kind of guy you want in the trenches with you every Sunday. And if the Chiefs do get this deal done by the deadline, it could stabilize the offensive line and help keep Mahomes clean, especially with new names rotating in and out across the line. Of course, there's always the risk it falls through. And if it does, he either plays on the tag or signs a 1-year deal, which could mean he's gone next offseason. That's why this moment feels like a turning point. One way or another, we're going to know very soon. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss the update when the deal is either finalized or falls apart. We're pushing hard to hit 5,000 subscribers here at Total Chiefs News, and your support means everything. Now let's get into what Patrick Mahomes had to say about Arrowhead and where the team might be playing in the near future. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. The face of the franchise sat down with CNBC recently and, as always, gave polished, thoughtful answers. But if you read between the lines, there's a lot to unpack. First up was the big question on the minds of every fan in Kansas City, the future of Arrowhead Stadium. Will the Chiefs stay put and renovate, or are we looking at a brand new stadium on the Kansas side? Mahomes gave the diplomatic answer. He said Arrowhead is his favorite place to play in the NFL, but acknowledged that Kansas has a strong bid too. He didn't come out and endorse either option, and honestly, that's exactly what we should have expected. Mahomes has always played it safe when speaking to the media, but his respect for Arrowhead came through loud and clear, and it's hard to blame him. Arrowhead is iconic, and the energy there is unlike anything else in the league. But here's something to think about. Mahomes also pointed out that no matter where the stadium is, Chiefs Kingdom is going to show up and pack it out. That's a real reminder of how unique this fan base is. Whether it's Missouri or Kansas, fans will travel, they'll scream, and they'll make life hell for opposing offenses. The real identity of this team isn't tied to geography. It's tied to the people who bleed red and gold every Sunday. Let me throw this one to you. If the team does decide to build a brand new stadium, would you support it? Or are you ride or die for Arrowhead? Tell me in the comments where you stand. I'm really curious to see what the Kingdom thinks. Now, Mahomes was also asked about the possibility of an 18-game season. Remember, the league already jumped from 16 to 17 games back in 2021, and now there's talk of another increase on the horizon. Mahomes didn't hide his opinion. He's not a fan. More games mean more risk, more wear and tear, and more potential injuries. He acknowledged that an extra bye week could help offset that, but even then he seemed reluctant. You could? Tell he's thinking about player safety first and foremost. And he's not wrong. Think about how many guys were resting in Week 18 last year. Teams with locked-in playoff seeds sat their starters, and games became meaningless. Do we really need another week like that? Or is the league already pushing it too far? Mahomes didn't slam the door shut on the idea, but his tone said it all. He's not exactly campaigning for it. It's refreshing to hear Mahomes speak from the perspective of a player and not just a franchise spokesman. He knows the toll this sport takes on the body. And he also knows the NFL is a business, which is probably why he's careful not to burn any bridges when asked about league decisions. All of this paints a picture of a player who's deeply thoughtful, team first, and fully aware of the big picture. Whether it's stadium politics or season structure, Mahomes handles it like a pro. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't pay attention to the small hints he drops. They often reveal more than the headlines ever do. If you're enjoying the breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps more Chiefs fans find this content, and it gets us one step closer to 5,000 subscribers. Up next, we're talking about that new quarterback ranking that just dropped, and where Mahomes landed might surprise you. Patrick Mahomes may still be sitting on the throne, but according to a brand new ESPN ranking, his grip on the crown is starting to slip. At least, that's what a few NFL insiders are hinting at. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler released a top 10 quarterback list for the 2025 season, but this wasn't just some solo opinion piece. This was based on a survey of over 70 NFL executives, coaches, and scouts from both the AFC and NFC. In other words, these are the people who build teams and game plans around these guys. This list actually matters. Let's start with the good news. Mahomes was still ranked number 1 overall. He received 60% of the first-place votes, which is still a solid lead. But last year, only one voter didn't have him at number 1. That's a noticeable drop. It's not panic-worthy, but it does show how much higher the expectations are for Mahomes, and how even a slightly less explosive season can open the door for challengers. And who are those challengers? Josh Allen came in at number 2, Joe Burrow at number 3, Lamar Jackson at number 4, and rookie sensation Jaden Daniels shockingly landed at number 5. That might raise a few eyebrows, especially for someone with only one NFL season under his belt, but it goes to show just how quickly the narrative can shift in this league. These rankings weren't just about numbers, they were about perception. And while Mahomes is still feared, some execs say that fear factor isn't quite what it used to be. One NFL coordinator put it perfectly. He said Mahomes didn't have the same weapons in 2024. The offensive line regressed. The wide receivers were banged up, and Travis Kelce clearly wasn't at peak form. And despite all that, Mahomes still showed more command of time, score, and pocket fundamentals than ever before. That same coordinator called him a one-man army, and that's the exact energy you want from your franchise QB. Here's something else to chew on. Mahomes had the highest QBR on third down last season, and over 53% of his pass attempts on third down resulted in first downs. That's an insane stat, and tells you just how efficient and deadly he still is when it matters most. Even the voters who ranked him lower admitted they don't expect the statistical dip to last long. One AFC scout flat out said Mahomes is poised to bounce back in 2025, especially with better weapons and a retooled offensive line. I want to know what you think. Should Mahomes still be considered undisputed QB1? Or have guys like Allen, Lamar, or Burrow closed the gap? Drop a QB1 in the comments if you still believe Mahomes is the best in the league, no questions asked. What I love most about this list is that it wasn't built on hot takes or highlight reels. These are the people inside NFL buildings who watch the tape, study the details, and see what casual fans might miss. And even they agree, Mahomes, even in a so-called down year, is still a nightmare to prepare for. That's elite. That's franchise-defining. And honestly, if Mahomes is slightly off but still leading the league in efficiency on third down, imagine what he's going to do with a healthy receiving core and more time in the pocket this year. Stick around, because next we're going to dig deeper into Trey Smith's value and why this deal might be even more important than people realize. Now let's circle back to Trey Smith, because whether you're all in on the new contract or still on the fence, this decision could have massive long-term implications for the Chiefs' offensive line and for Mahomes' future protection. Some fans are questioning if paying Trey top-of-the-market money is the right call, especially since he's known more as a dominant run blocker than an elite pass protector. But here's the thing. There's way more to this story than just PFF grades. Let's start with durability. Trey Smith has started in 80 games since entering the league. That includes regular season and playoffs. That kind of availability is incredibly rare at the NFL level. The guy shows up, puts his head down, and handles business. And in a league where offensive linemen are constantly rotating due to injuries, that kind of consistency is gold. Plus, he's only 26. You're not paying for a guy on the back end of his career. You're investing in his prime. Now, I get the concerns. He isn't ranked as a top 10 or even top 15 pass blocker according to analytics. But he is improving year after year. You don't stay stagnant in this Chiefs system unless you're getting better, because the expectations are sky high. And it's not like the Chiefs don't need run blocking either. If anything, it would be great to see them lean into that aspect a bit more, especially now with a younger, faster group of skill players coming together. And here's the bigger issue. Some fans are saying, just let him walk, draft a new guy, or grab one in free agency. But that logic doesn't really hold up when you break it down. NFL teams rarely let top-tier guards hit the open market. The ones that do are either over the hill or dealing with injury concerns. Drafting one sounds great in theory, but it's a gamble. You don't know if the rookie can handle the system, the pressure, or the chemistry with the rest of the line. With Trey, you already know what you're getting. Let me ask you, would you rather roll the dice in next year's draft or lock down a guy you know is dependable, improving, and passionate about protecting your MVP? Let me know in the comments which side you're on. I want to hear what the fan base thinks here. Also, keep in mind the salary cap is going up every year, so even if Trey becomes the highest paid guard in football today, that deal may look like a bargain in 2 or 3 seasons. It's all about timing and locking in foundational pieces before prices explode. And if the Chiefs are serious about retooling this offensive line for another Super Bowl run, keeping a guy like Trey in the building makes total sense. Jawan Taylor likely won't be here much longer, and while Kingsley Suamataia and Josh Simmons are exciting prospects, they're still on rookie deals. You need veteran leadership anchoring that interior, and Trey fits that mold perfectly. At the end of the day, the Chiefs have a chance to lock in a young, experienced, high-motor lineman who bleeds red and gold. That's not a piece you let walk easily. And based on everything we're hearing, he wants to be here. He wants to lead. He wants to win. Next up, we'll wrap up with some exciting updates on Josh Simmons, Xavier Worthy, and how this offense is shaping up to make a serious leap in 2025. Let's close this out with a look at what's coming. Because while contract drama and rankings make headlines, what's happening behind the scenes with the offense should have every Chiefs fan buzzing. Trey Smith isn't just gearing up for another big season. He's also stepping into a leadership role with rookie tackle Josh Simmons. And from the sounds of it, he's fully bought into the hype. Trey told Kay Adams that he's really impressed with Simmons' mentality and work ethic. He said the rookie's been grinding, staying locked in, and showing serious potential already. Even more importantly, Trey's ready to mentor him, to take him under his wing and help shape him into another cornerstone on this O-line. That's the kind of internal culture that wins championships, and it shows how much the veterans are invested in the future of this team. Simmons himself recently said in a Chiefs team video that he'll be ready to go week 1 if his name is called, and that the team won't regret it. You can feel the confidence coming from both sides. There's a belief building that this young line, especially with Trey as an anchor, could become something special. And it's not just the offensive line that's trending upward. Xavier Worthy is entering his second year and looks locked in. During a recent interview, he explained how understanding defensive leverage, coverage schemes, and Mahomes' tendencies has helped him take a major step forward. It's that mental leap that often separates breakout wideouts in year 2. Worthy even credited Travis Kelce for his development. He said, Kelce would watch his routes in practice and give him detailed feedback, little adjustments that added new tools to his game. That kind of mentorship from a future Hall of Famer? Priceless. And let's not forget, Andy Reid reportedly told Worthy to get his hamstrings ready for all the deep routes he's going to run. That tells you a lot about what's in store. Worthy also mentioned that Mahomes is in a completely different mode this offseason. He cut his hair, locked in, and sounds like a man on a mission. Combine that with a receiver room that's healthier and way ahead of where they were last year, and it's not hard to imagine this offense taking a huge leap. Hollywood Brown and Juju are entering their second year in the system. Rashee Rice is heading into his third, and although he missed most of last year, he looked fantastic in the few games he played. These guys aren't learning the playbook anymore. They're playing fast and free, and that's a dangerous thing for opposing defenses. And maybe the most important piece of it all, they're having fun again. Mahomes and Worthy both talked about the importance of bringing that energy back. The pressure of chasing a three-peat last season sucked some of the joy out of the game. Now it's about playing loose, playing confident, and getting back to loving football the way they always have. That's the vibe inside the building. That's the fuel driving them after a brutal Super Bowl loss and a long off-season of noise. They want to silence the critics and prove the dynasty isn't close to finished. It's just evolving. So let me ask you this as we wrap up. How many points per game do you think this offense can average in 2025? Drop your prediction in the comments and let's see who's feeling bold. And hey, if you've made it this far, you're clearly one of the real ones. Help us reach our next milestone, 5,000 subscribers, by hitting that sub button and turning on notifications. We've got more updates, breakdowns, and insider reactions coming your way all off season long. Thanks for hanging with me today. Now let's see what happens with that Trey Smith deal. Until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those Chiefs?